Dag from Svenska. Everyone loves to learn about business etiquette from different cultures. Have you ever considered Sweden? Anyone can talk about Sweden, but I live Sweden. Not so much in the motherland, but in my own home. In my own home every single day of my life. My great-grandmother, Amanda Ingvall, came through Ellis Island in the late 1800s during the Great European Migration. Her daughter, Ruth, lived with us since I was 6 months old. I grew up with the language, the food, the attitude. Swedes have massive attitude. Everything except the business culture. So when the opportunity presented itself to learn, I decided it was time to act. Sweden is a Scandinavian country. It's located between Norway and Finland. It is surrounded by water, as you can see all through here, and their main staple is fish. They eat lutefisk and stormströmming and herring, all kinds of stuff. But it's a very northern country. It's a very cold country. Just like the United States has a cold in the north, it's all 4 seasons in the middle, and it's warm in the south. Sweden is kind of the same way. Up here you have the coldest region, then you have cold, and then you have least cold. Notice the common denominator is cold. So wherever you go to visit Sweden, make sure you take a coat with you. Call, depending on the territory you're visiting, you'll want to pack accordingly. Business etiquette is all about learning the values and the attitudes that form the culture in that country. The attitude and the values will reflect the way the people think and act. Understanding these values are important if you want to communicate effectively, because if you ignore them, it builds up walls between you and the people you're trying to do business with, and you can do a lot of damage. The Swedes are very, very much about CSR, corporate social responsibility. They honestly, truly believe everything that is corporate social responsibility. They believe in climate change, gender roles, human rights, corruption in the business world and in government. They fight very hard, and they're very proactive. Anytime any of these subjects come up, they, instead of being reactive, they're proactive, and they attack it head on. They infuse their entire business culture with CSR, and back in the 70s, they decided they weren't going to tolerate it anymore, and they became incredibly proactive. Punctuality is a big thing with the Swedes. I know that. I live that. My mother and my grandmother could not stand to be late for anything. They're still that way. My youngest son has a saying, if you're 5 minutes early, you're late. It's not, spontaneity and punctuality is not a strong suit for the Swedes. Not at all. They don't adjust well to change. They want to know what's going to happen a year from now, and they want it planned out to the T. They are just incredibly, incredibly self-conscious when it comes to being on time. When it comes to giving gifts in Sweden, a lot of times in the United States, we will show up with a bottle of wine, a box of chocolate, something like that, first time we meet someone, just because it's the right thing to do. In Sweden, that is considered very intrusive, very presumptuous. If they want you in their lives, they will invite you. And you haven't been invited yet, and here you are giving gifts. They are very stoic people, takes a while for them to get to know you. So do not make the mistake of showing up with a gift. Usually, you have to wait for them to move first. And what happens is, at the end of a business meeting, usually they will present you with some small token, such as chocolates, wine, cookies, something like that. And that's to celebrate a job well done. At that point, it is then okay for you to return the favor. But not before that. They just do not appreciate it. The holidays in Sweden, totally different thing. The rules are reversed. If you're invited to a Swedish holiday, if you're invited into their home, that is a huge, huge thing. They like you. They're going to keep you. They're not going to throw you away. And at that point, you need to show up with something. Usually something for the children, because they value making Christmas all about the kids. They celebrate the Tomten, which is the Swedish version of Santa Claus. They love small chocolates and cookies, holiday cookies, pepparkaka, ostkaka, things like that are valued in Sweden. And if you're thinking of their children, they feel that you're thinking of them. So always show up with some small token. Don't bring flowers. Flowers are kind of a big no-no because they have so many flowers that are specifically assigned to certain events. Lilies, chrysanthemums, orchids, they're associated with weddings, funerals, other festivals. And so rather than bring the wrong flower and be, I don't want to say mocked, but have their nose turned up at you, just stay away from the flower thing entirely. Moving right along to their dress code, they have a very downplayed wardrobe for the workplace. They do not believe in being flashy. The women wear pantsuits or skirts with a dark jacket. Everything is dark. When you're at work, all your clothing is supposed to be dark. They do not appreciate any type of flashiness at all, even in their jewelry, their clothing, nothing. The men, although they don't wear a necktie, they do wear dark business suits with a shirt underneath, white shirt, just like this. This is one of the most famous businessmen in Sweden. And he's, as you can see, just fits the role perfectly. The dark suit, the white shirt, no necktie. So make sure that you save your flashiness. If you're going to go over there, take an outfit with you that's maybe a little bit more dressy, a little bit more trendy for the evenings in case they invite you out to dinner, into their home for the holidays as we discussed. Something like that, because they're very flashy and love to dress in style after work hours. But business is business and play is play, and they separate the two. The gender roles in Sweden. As you can see in my ad here, they have a little boy styling hair. They are very gender neutral. They do not believe in discrimination. Do not go over there with a I am man, hear me roar, or I am woman, hear me roar attitude. They do not appreciate it. They will shoot you down. They want to stay as trendy with the social issues as they possibly can. So anyway, when you go to Sweden, as a recap, remember the three biggest things is corporate social responsibility, adhere to their dress code, be on time. That's, I guess there's four big ones, and the anti-corruption in their laws. So thank you for visiting, and have a nice trip to Sweden, and I hope that I taught you something today.